An animated group gathers around a kiosk and among its applause, a young man requests some items from his assistant. The nervous girl gives you the request and thanks for the help. Together, they celebrate after selling all their stock and start calculating their profits. After subtracting their initial costs, they discover that they have won 1.60 yen. The little girl is surprised by Shirou's talent for sales, finding him like a magician, but Shirou gets shy and says she's overreacting. At a different time, history passes to Japan today. Shirou suddenly finds himself in a forest, looking at a portal that leads to his room. He sees a magical city behind him and his grandmother's altar room ahead. The young man remembers how he got to the house his grandmother left him. When he opened the closet near the altar, he came across a portal to another kingdom. Shirou closes the door, thinking it's a trap in his mind due to the stress of his old toxic work. But when he reopens it, he's surprised to find out it's real. Her grandmother had hidden a mystery, and Shirou recalls that she disappeared 7 years earlier until the authorities pronounced her dead. As a child, Shirou often questioned the secret, and she promised to explain when he was older. The old woman died before she shared, but next to a photo, she left a letter with guidelines. On the note, she apologizes for keeping that from him and admits she was a witch from a place called Rufaro. In short, it reveals that the closet is connected to Rufaro, a land with magic and special abilities, as well as ferocious creatures and species beyond humans. The old witch left a ring that magically allowed him to understand the language of that world and told Shirou to read 2 books hidden behind the altar. He finds the ring in the books. But the text is illegible at first. His grandmother's voice resonates in his head, encouraging him to wear the ring. And excited, he discovers that now he can understand the words. When reading, a voice in his mind tells him that he acquired the exchange of skills for equivalent. Shirou jumps looking for someone nearby, but you realize you're alone, like in a video game. He gains another power inventory and ponders his next move. The young man wonders if he should leave, so you remember his grandmother's advice, that everything would make sense once he got there. He decides to leave the next day. After you prepare, you pray for your grandmother. The next morning, Shirou begins his journey with enthusiasm, and after a long walk, comes to a town full of warriors, cattle, and magicians walking around. Excited by the sights, he realizes the walk made him hungry, and a kebab stand gets your attention. Curious, Shirou asks what that meat is, and the salesman says it's horned rabbit for only 3 bronze coins. The young man apologizes, admitting he has no money, which irritates the seller. Thinking of the skewer, your mouth fills with water with the tasty snack, and he remembers he still has 4.2 yen of supermarket change, wishing to be able to use yen to buy the skewers. At that moment, a bright circle forms in your hand, and coins replace the yen he held. The young man is overwhelmed by the fact that he has no money and coins replace the yen he held. The young man is impressed and runs to the tent, asking the seller if the new coin is bronze, which the seller confirms. The salesman thinks it's weird, but you assume Shirou is a traveler from afar. Shirou celebrates his equivalent exchange skills and buys 3 skewers. He eats them with enthusiasm, but has disappointed because the taste is dull. The young man begins to experiment, changing the coins back to yen, realizing that he can exchange them at any time with his power. He decides he could get rich and keep testing, converting larger sums and creating a silver coin. Back at the booth, he asks if he can pay with it, but the salesman says there's not enough change. Shirou reflects on what happened and does the accounts of his funds. He walks away, eager to explore the area until he finds the market, excited to talk to people there. Shirou notes that his modern clothes draw attention, as a shy little girl approaches with flowers, offering them nervously. When he asks the price, she hesitates, getting more nervous and abandoning your offer. He chooses a yellow flower and pay her 3 bronze coins, surprising you, and then you say you'd like some information for that price and ask your name. The girl Anna introduces herself, and Shirou reciprocates by sharing his name. Shirou discovers he is in Menoric, a district of the Gillam Kingdom, where bronze coins equal 100 yen, silver coins correspond to 10 yen, and gold coins are worth 1 million yen. The average monthly salary is 8 silver coins, gold is rare, and even children like Anna need government permission to sell. He buys more flowers from her, leaving her her own time off. Anna says that a single flower as decoration seems strange, thanking you warmly, while Shirou says his grandmother will love the flowers. Touched, she offers to take you to the government office, and shows the way eagerly. When they reach a large building, she points with enthusiasm. Shirou gets nervous, asking if being a foreigner will cause trouble, but Anna makes sure the people there are good. Though hesitant, Shirou jumps when an old elf with a severe expression questions him in the office, giving you a form to fill out. She lists your name and options. Walking salesman for 10 bronze coins a day to load goods, the same fee for setting up a tent, or store owner for 3 daily silver coins with minimum contract of 10 days for the store. Shirou chooses the tent option. He sends the form, and the elf finds his name strange. He interrupts saying the fare is cheap, but you regret it, unsure of local costs. Her harsh gaze softens when she agrees it's fair, thanks to the mayor's price rules, and wishes her luck. Shirou thanks you. Then she tells Anna she's shocked that it worked out, thanking you too. Anna seems sad to say goodbye, lowering his head timidly. But when Shirou begins the wrong way, she screams to correct him and points in the right direction. At the market, she asks what he's gonna sell, and he starts with confidence, but admits he has no idea. Seeing him insecure, Anna smiles and suggests adventurous equipment. Following her idea, Shirou sees a witch, a warrior, and soldiers, and Anna explains that nearby forest monsters lure them here. He imagines a beast trying to attack him, so consider her advice. She adds that the monsters have damaged their flower sales, but get excited, glad he bought so many. Smiling radly, Anna says she's glad you met, leaving Shirou ashamed, and offers to show you the market. They visit a flashlight store with a similar owner, a sleeping bag stand with a catgummed salesman, and a knife and rope shop with a woman in a rabbit costume tying a man up. Shirou is amazed at the variety, and Anna proudly confirms that it is an eclectic place. As Anna had promised, she hit her chest slightly, but ended up being too strong. Then she takes Shirou's hand, showing him the shops nearby, and he looks at her with affection, wondering how she would be an amazing wife someday. While Anna was talking nonstop, Shirou was led by waking dreams of having a lovely wife and daughter soon. His thoughts were interrupted when Anna asked eagerly what he was going to sell. Shirou leaned near her and whispered the answer gently in his ear. The scene changed to the morning, where Shirou engulfed enthusiastically, preparing to assemble his goods. Anna showed up happily to say hello. And when Shirou asked if she would sell flowers again, she sat down, explaining that she had gotten up early to pick them. Shirou praised her, saying the flowers were beautiful and that she would sell a lot. Upon hearing this, Anna smiled and shared that she was selling them to buy medicine for her mother. Full of energy, Anna said goodbye, and Shirou said she'd meet her later. She left quickly with her basket, offering flowers to people. But then she hit someone and fell. Seeing that, Shirou, with tears coming to her eyes, cried words of encouragement to her, promising to do her best as well. Just then, his first client approached, asking what he was selling. The customer looked with expression of doubt at the box Shirou delivered and wondered if it was some kind of handmade product. Shirou explained it was a matchbook containing a small toothpick that makes fire. The client, an adventurer, was skeptical, saying he had never heard of a small piece of wood that created flames. Shirou then showed him, rubbing the match against the box, lighting a little fire. The adventurer watched carefully, first confused. Then he screamed by surprise, totally impressed by what he saw, causing uproar around them. Falling to the ground, the adventurer asked how surprised Shirou did it. Holding the bright match, Shirou shouldered casually in response. Unconscious about the adventurer's question, Shirou asked if he had really never seen anything like this before. He warned that he would demonstrate only once more and began counting down. In the end, he lit another match, again surprising the adventurer. A crowd formed, attracted by the reaction of the adventurer, all shocked. Some thought it was witchcraft, magic, or a mystical device, but none had witnessed anything like that. Shirou introduced his product, guaranteeing them that it was easy to use. Customers started experimenting with matches themselves, amazed at them, while Shirou smiled, pleased that his plan was working. During a trip to the market with Anna, he noticed that this world did not know matches, so he returned to his own world to get some to sell. An old elf commented that he had never seen such a thing in 250 years, and a lizard man agreed with enthusiasm. The adventurer once admitted that it was incredible, because lighting fire with a stone and magic tools was difficult and slow. The adventurer explained that these tools were heavy to carry, and without the help of a witch, lighting fire would take forever. Shirou sat with pride and began to speak, acting as a genius of technology, revealing a revolutionary device, declaring that people would no longer face these problems because he had brought freedom. In a dramatic moment, Shirou, wearing as Steve Jobs, raised the small box as the crowd vibrated with joy. He asked who wanted to buy, and one quickly offered, but it was interrupted. Suddenly, the adventurer, now seriously, asked how much the matches cost. The crowd murmured, assuming they were expensive, but Shirou was prepared for it. He asked the adventurer what he thought the price could be. After a break, the adventurer answered 80 bronze coins. Shirou smiled and began to ponder his options: sell them as a luxury item for big profits for sale, or price them low to earn more from many buyers. With the foreground, he would raise money from every individual sale. A small number of people could pay for the product at first, but then many more could buy it, even though its gains decreased. Excited, he shares that each box contains 40 matches and offers a discount to celebrate his new business. He sets the price on 5 bronze coins per box, surprising everyone and generating instant requests. Shirou warns them to keep the matches dry because the water spoils them. Until the end, the young man sells to a large group of people, more than 100 customers, leaving only one old without purchase. Because the stock runs out, he apologizes to the old man and promises he'll have a place in line tomorrow, but the old man, insulted, says his only 120. Exhausted, Shirou lies down, amazed by the crowd and further dreading tomorrow. Clouds gather as the young man wonders if he can continue, seeing a flower falling to the ground and feeling that he should not give up. So the focus changes for Anna, who happily catches a fallen flower as always. With her usual energy, Anna keeps selling her flowers, calling them accessible. Suddenly, someone screams her name, and she turns to see Shirou, shocked, asking about your shop. He explains that has sold everything and closed for the day. Anna congratulates you, but when Shirou asks about his sales, she blushes, hides her basket of flowers and admits timidly that she is not sure. While she tries to understand why her flowers are not moving, tears begin to form in her eyes. Worried, Shirou makes sure she's okay, and she wipes her tears, insisting she's okay. She runs off to sell more, but he holds her by the arm to stop her. Confused, she looks at him with wet eyes while he begs her to listen to him. She screams, asking what he means, and he asks for your help tomorrow. She asks if everything is okay, and Shirou reassures her, saying she needs her because she's really capable, promising to pay for it. Anna bows her head with the offer, so you smile with joy, agreeing to help because you're excited to partner with Shirou. He appreciates it, but she says it's not necessary, since she didn't even sell a flower. Preaching her hand, she insists that it is she who is grateful to her. Watching her lovingly, he feels that his sincere gratitude means that he must work hard. Shirou asks if they can meet tomorrow, and still holding her hand, she agrees with enthusiasm. They split up, and he looks around to make sure no one is watching. Seeing the way is clear, he opens a portal to his world, hiding it as long as you're afraid of being discovered. He observes that the portal, connected to a closet, can open anywhere, but cares about gossip. Coming through him, he comes home. Using the portal, he opens the portal to his world, hiding it as long as he fears it will be discovered. With a special conversion, he turns his coins into yen, totaling 5.5 yen of sales of the day. Surprised, he compares it to paying for his old job, thinking that if you keep this up, you'll never have to work again. He imagines playing video games and reading manga, but back to reality, deciding to prepare for tomorrow. The scene changes to Shirou in a supermarket, looking for matchboxes. He finds them, and realizes survival boxes resistant to wind and water, surprised not to know about them. He takes a bunch of them, planning to sell them to profit-driven adventurers. The cashier thinks it's weird, questioning if he's out of control. Loaded with boxes, Shirou realizes he neglected how hard it would be to take them home, so you have an idea about using your conversion skills. In a world where he can use another special skill, the young man takes his purchases to a quiet place and activates his space storage. At this moment a crack in reality opens, surprising but he starts throwing the packages at her. When it's over, he celebrates, because now he has his own pocket dimension. He remembers how he used to stuff everything in a backpack and, since his old job hurt his back, he knows he couldn't carry all his groceries if he had to wear a bag. Shirou is surprised to find out that he can also see details about the items stored in a large magic circle. He wonders if his powers have any limits and what his grandmother might be up to. Looking at his hands, he realizes he'll never have to carry anything anymore. Decide to sell matches for 4 more days and then find out what else to sell. Lifting his arm with courage, he declares that, with these skills, he can become rich. Just then, a little girl points to him, telling his mother that the strange man is talking to himself again. Her mother scolds her for pointing at strangers, and feeling shy, Shirou shuts up and goes home. The day begins with Anna in a modest brick house that looks simple. The little girl, Anna, says goodbye to her mother. There's a flower pot in the windows, and your mother's lying on the bed. The woman asks if Anna is taking the flowers with her, and with a happy face, the girl says no, because she'll help at Shirou's store. Meanwhile, Shirou is at her grandmother's house in the real world, asking for your blessing before her altar. It passes through the portal, excited to start the day. Anna walks around town with a smile, and when Shirou reaches her, he says hi and apologizes for being late. She says she just got here, but he encourages her to admit she waited a while. She confesses her clients were already lining up. Only then does he notice several people around the store. Anna turns to him, excited to start, but he says he still needs to prepare some things. He sees so many people waiting to buy that they're blocking other stores, which he knows isn't good, coming from his old job. Another store owner talks to him about the crowd, and Shirou promises to settle the situation. Looking closer, he realizes that the man is the salesman at the skewer stand. The salesman comes near Shirou and says he heard of the matches, but he didn't believe it was him. When he sees the line, but no clients being attended, he asks if there is something wrong. Shirou explains the problem with the other stores, and the merchant understands. Your comrades suggest that Shirou use their booth for free things, as it is further away. Shirou asks if everything is okay, and the woman says yes, because they are taking a break. Shirou thanks you, and Anna's eyes light up. He asks if the woman is the merchant's wife, but the man quickly says she is his sister. She blinks at Shirou, who's surprised they don't look alike. She's a gorgeous girl. Shirou and Anna walk on a map to the roast beef shop. As soon as they get there, the pair rushes to assemble the products. Shirou shows Anna the sizes and items to sell, and she says she understands, but she seems nervous. He makes sure she's okay, since she seems shaky, but they open the store anyway. Outside, a long line waits, and they apologize for the delay, announcing that they will start serving. Shirou asks priority password carriers to approach, and you give Anna instructions to order. She gets nervous, but follow his guidance. Anna is shocked. As quickly as the box is empty, with many still in line. Shirou calls her next client while she watches marveled. Anna is amazed at how amazing that is, wondering if that's the magic of selling. Soon they'll have to close, and Shirou apologizes to customers because they're out of stock. Anna can't believe it. Shirou says it's thanks to her and the owners of the skewer's tent. He starts counting the coins they got, and is impressed, saying he was expecting 200 yen from yesterday's sales, but in 3 hours, they won 1 million. A young man estimates that the 5 million yen he carries is equivalent to about 490 yen per hour, questioning whether this is the income of a millionaire. Decided to leave to avoid trouble, he puts his backpack on his back, but it's too late. Anna says you need to go, making him stagger. He thinks about using his pocket size to transport it, although he hesitates because he doesn't want anyone to notice. Instead, he delivers Anna a bag of coins as payment for her effort. The little girl thanks you with enthusiasm, and Shirou caresses her head, suggesting she buy a gift for her mother. He tells you she was a big help, but Anna insists she's the one to thank for the work at his store. Shirou interrupts her, saying she doesn't need to thank her, because she's accomplished it with hard work, giving her a playful blink of eyes. Anna makes a face of little shame, wanting to show more gratitude, which makes Shirou laugh. Just then, her stomach snores loudly, making her dull. Opening a bag, Shirou notes that they missed a break and invites her to share a meal with him. Shirou gets sandwiches from the bag, and Anna, with her mouth salivating, asks if it's bread. After tasting, she is amazed, exclaiming how tasty she is, with bright eyes while eating happy. Shirou is glad she's enjoying it. As they eat, a tall, well-dressed young woman with long hair approaches, asking for a moment of your time. She mentions hearing rumors about departures and asks if Shirou was the seller. He confirms it was, but he says it's all sold out. The woman, putting her hand on her chest, says she didn't come to buy, you came for him. Acting as Sankara, the mayor of the city. She surprises Shirou, who can't believe a woman so young and attractive occupies this position, imagining a tough, muscular figure. Tripping over words, he asks what she wants to talk about. Sankara, with Anna watching closely, thanks Shirou for bringing his merchant skills into the city and makes a deep reverence. Shirou answers that it is he who should thank you for letting him sell there, and she calls him humble. She notes that most local traders are difficult, leaving Shirou confused. Suddenly she says that he could help her, taking him by surprise, although they start talking while Anna naps, dreaming about food. Sankara explains that the isolation of the city causes traders to act as if they were doing everyone a favor by showing up. They charge high prices for their goods, while local products are sold at low prices, disrupting the city's economy. With her eyes wide open, Shirou listens as she passionately shares her goal of fixing it by creating a market. After her speech, she gets shy under his surprised look. Then he offers a key, leaving him wondering what it's for. Shirou, confused, imagine if it's the key to Sankara's house. Discarding that idea is unlikely, she's certainly not suggesting something romantic. Sankara blinks, saying it's the key to his house, shocking him completely. When she asks what's wrong, he disguises it. But Anna comes along saying the mayor wants to live with Shirou. He gets confused and Anna reinforces, saying Sankara wants to marry him, making Sankara squeeze her teeth with shame. She firmly denies, insisting that she is not single and desperate, recovering her composure. Back to work, she starts asking for a favor, but Shirou interrupts her, asking if she's married. Embarrassed, she says no. Then he points to an empty house, explaining that he can use the key to enter it from tomorrow. She wants him to sell his first-floor products. Surprised, Shirou asks why and, as I suspected, Sankara says that other traders complained that they could not compete with the long lines of their store. He settles down, understanding their struggle. Smiling confidently, Sankara offers him a tour, saying he does not need to decide immediately. They used to walk around town until they got to the house she offered, both being silent, touched by the moment. While Anna plays happily celebrating the opening of the store, she wonders aloud if everything is really okay. She comments she expects them to like, and adds you have one more question. When Anna approaches and whispers gently in her ear, she suggests that perhaps the mayor is curious to know if he knows anyone with a red face. Shirou declares loudly that he understood, saying he has no girlfriend, leaving the mayor visibly disconcerted. She stutters that that wasn't her intended question, and the young man laughs, explaining that he was just joking. The mayor, Sankara, still with the red face, then resumes the composition and asks with a serious expression why he chose to sell his products in this town. She points out that it is a small place with only 500 residents and observes with a slight tone of sadness that he could earn more elsewhere. Shirou agrees, saying she has a point, but he claims he likes it here, even though he's only been here 3 days. He appreciates how hard Anna worked to help him with the store, and praises the goodness of the mayor, even though he's just a newcomer, Touched by his words, Sankara's face shines with admiration, while the young man shares your love for the city. He remembers the friendly people he met in Inori, thinking that, despite being from another world and not being familiar with other cities, none could be as welcoming as this. Sankara takes her hands to her chest. Anna is surprised to see Shira's hand on the mayor's hand, emotionally thanking her for her kind words. Anna, surprised, tells Shirou he made a girl cry, and he quickly apologizes, saying he didn't want to. Then the mayor offers you her hand. She tells him he can call her Sankara, and while she shakes his hand, he says she can just call him Shirou. Anna also introduces herself, and everyone changes handshake. The mayor expresses her pleasure in meeting them. A table appears showing Shira's quick journey from a matchstick seller to a store owner in just 3 days. Anna realizes Shira's hand on his chest and is surprised to see a young man holding her. The mayor is surprised, but reminds him of her own father in heaven, smiling and making the gesture of peace. The next day, he signs a 1-a-month lease to the store, and 5 days later, Shirou announces that the stock is over, surprising customers. Now wearing a suit and tie, the young man reviews his notes, confused, because he thought he had sold enough to fuel the entire city. Anna shows up to say she's finished cleaning the store, and Shirou suggests she rest upstairs. She offers to help more, but he insists she's done enough. He puts snacks on a tray. When you turn around to turn them over to Anna, you realize she's sleeping. While the girl sleeps, she whispers, confusing Shirou with her father. He tries to correct, but she asks for a hug, so he lifts her in his lap. She smiles. Glad your father's finally holding her, mentioning that your mother does that, too, before I go back to sleep. Surprised, Shirou wonders if he became a father figure, and cover it with a blanket, making sure she can ask him for anything. Still asleep, Anna smiles, and Shirou promises to do everything she can for her. On the 6th day of sales, Shirou gives Anna a break, but he is exhausted, having forgotten how hard it is to work alone. Just then, the mayor comes in, and he tells you has out of stock again. She says it's no surprise to a saleswoman like him, but Shirou explains what the real problem is. He sold a lot more than the town's population might need. The mayor reveals that she has heard rumors that people are reselling their products in other cities. Shirou considers limiting permission to sell his products in other cities. Shirou assesses limiting the amount of purchases per customer, while Sankara, with serious expression, says she came to ask a favor. Realizing the importance, he invites her up. He asks about your request, but she first wants to know if Shirou knows the Guild of City Adventurers. He confirms his name is Silver Moon, surprising the mayor, who didn't expect him to know so much. Shirou explains it's because he's watching the city. Many Shirou customers are adventurous, and the guild works as an outsourcing company, receiving customer requests and passing on to freelance adventurers. The organization pays for completed missions, which usually involve killing dangerous monsters, collecting herbs and mushrooms for remedies and other tasks. Sankara mentions that since Shirou knows this, it's easier to explain that Silver Moon is the only guild in town. She starts talking about the guild leader, but Shirou interrupts, visibly upset. The guild leader is the head of the organization, a highly authoritative figure. Shirou suddenly gets up, asking if something happened to the guild leader. After a break, the mayor reveals that the master of the guild resigned, which left Shirou amazed. Sankara adds that the guild now has no funds to pay the adventurers, worrying that they can leave the city. Shirou agrees, horrified to know that this would be a big problem. The mayor then shares that she has a plan, as you always do for difficult situations. The mayor explains that the capital's Guild of Adventurers wants to open a branch in the city, but she always refused to protect Silver Moon. Shirou suggests that, given the circumstances, accepting the offer of capital may be the best choice. Sankara thanks you happily for your opinion. When Shirou sees her at a glance, he realizes her silhouette, then looks away, ashamed, saying it's no big deal. The mayor notes that if she agrees to the request, the Guild of the Capital will visit to decide on the opening of a subsidiary. She asks Shirou to show the matchbooks, and he says he's okay with it, asking what the problem is. Sankara comments that she had never seen anything like it, not even in the capital, And you wonder where he got an item like that. Shirou tingles in his answer, and she apologizes for being probing her. She suggests that if Shirou has a monopoly on the product, the guild interest will grow. Shirou understands, saying he needs to draw the attention of the guild of the capital to succeed. The mayor feels uncomfortable, but Shirou reassures her, promising to bring something that will impress her, even her. Sankara calls him gentle and shyly promises to return the favor. The next day Anna is back at work, and realizes Shira's concern, asking if he's okay. Has focused on finding something to arouse the guild inspector's interest. Suddenly he rises with determination, and tells Anna she needs to visit Sankara's house. When he arrives, Sankara is surprised by Shira's request. She asks if he's serious, and Shirou confirms that he wants to become an adventurer, seeking permission to join them. Anna questions whether he is really determined to participate in missions with adventurers. He says yes, explaining that this is the only way to understand your needs. The mayor, keeping a serious tone, asks if Shirou knows the risks, since adventurers in that region only go into the forest. We see a glimpse of the eastern forest with a big, dark, wolf-like creature. Shirou recognizes the danger, but suggests he won't enter the forest. He says he's going into the woods, but he suggests he could be an adventurer for weed collection. What Sankara agrees is safer. She wants to introduce him to some adventurers, but notes her tense relationship with the Silver Moon Guild. Sankara shares that the substitute master of the guild visited her the night before stealthily among the shadows. He begged desperately for money, crying and throwing himself on the ground. Shirou is shocked by such a bold request and asks what the guild needs. Sankara lifts 10 fingers. Shirou thinks it's $10, but she shakes her head. He then asks if it's 10 silverers, but she denies it again. Shirou exclaims, surprised to realize that it is 10 diamonds, equivalent to 10 million yen. Sankara scolds him for speaking loudly, saying that such a sum does not exist in your small town. Even a tenth of that value could be manageable, but soon it would be difficult to ask the guild for help after refusing their request. The mayor seems worried. Shirou faces the ink on the table and decides to write a letter, delivering it to Shirou with a warning not to create too many expectations. Shirou then asks for help from the guild, surprised to see the guild has a silver moon. Shirou travels to the Silver Moon Guild, and when he gets there, he feels anxious because it is his first visit. As he enters, he sees a great confusion, and immediately an adventurer attacks him, causing him to fall to the ground. The warrior declares that Shirou is fresh meat there and must show respect to the elders. Shirou fights to get up, explaining that he is a merchant, not an adventurer. Still, the adventurer continues to threaten, saying that because he is a wealthy merchant, he must value his punch. Shirou escapes, thinking that this kind of thing should not happen, and passes through a door. As soon as he enters, he asks permission to enter, but look around and see no one. Suddenly he feels someone around, asks who's there. You see a counter and you hear a soft cry. He approaches and mentions he has a letter from the mayor. One does not respond until Shirou gently touches his shoulder, asking permission and saying he needs to talk. A young woman with rabbit ears and a long ponytail turns to face him, but she's shocked because she doesn't know Shirou and screams, asking who he is and how she did it. Shirou wonders if she belongs to the guild, but she keeps screaming, demanding to know why he touched her. Still screaming, she questions if Shirou has a crush on her or something. She warns her that with a single command, she, a Silver Moon girl, could call 1,000 strong men. She then imagines herself as a leader in a revolutionary army. Shirou pulls her back to reality, asking if there's anyone else around. She insists that sometimes there are others, but stubbornly claims that she alone could defeat him. Shake her arms, she brags that her punch could break rocks. Shirou watches her with an expression of disappointment, thinking she'll be hard to deal with. He interrupts her again, asking where the substitute master is and asking her to call him. She admits she could call the substitute master, but then reveals that she is the substitute master of the guild, leaving Shirou amazed. The rabbit-eared girl named Emil remembers how she turned out to be the new guild master. It happened because there was no one left but her. There was another girl, but after the old master ran away, Emil, completely drunk, beats a bottle and confesses to Shirou that the two were secretly together. She complains that they didn't realize that she discovered everything, explaining that she started with them trading kisses hidden in hidden places. Finally, they openly exhibited romance in the master's room. She starts swearing, hoping they lose everything, get attacked and end up like slaves. Emil adds that the former master smelled bad, like a mutt dog, and Shirou tries to console her, saying he did what he could. He asks if she's finished unloading her anger, and she calls him honey for listening to her grumble for an entire hour. With her red face, she begins to unbutton her shirt to repay her kindness, but Shirou questions what she is planning. Quickly, Emil fixes your shirt, so she asks if he has any tasks to complete. Shirou delivers the mayor's letter, but when Emil finds out who sent her, she'll lose control of a flood of insults. Shirou wonders if his grandmother's ring broke, since he couldn't understand his words. He suggests that she change the subject and clarifies that the letter is from Miss Sankara, mayor of Minor. Nevertheless, Emil continues to criticize the mayor, calling her a stupid, heartless woman. She takes the letter from Shirou's hands and declares that if it's from Sankara, it's better to destroy it. She rips it apart and tears it apart. Shirou screams by surprise, while Emil claims that things like cheating and betrayal are horrible. Turning to him, she demands to know his connection to Sankara. She's angry because the mayor rejected Silver Moon and brought another guild in place, so she considers the mayor completely shameless. At that moment, Sankara sneezes back into his office. Emil complains that even after begging at the mayor's feet, Sankara did not give him 10 gold coins. Sankara gets angry and calls Shirou cruel, but Shirou tries to calm the situation by explaining that it was a great sum of money, and that Sankara probably had other concerns. Suddenly, the girl turns to Shirou, asking why he defends the mayor so much and if she has feelings for Sankara. With tears in her eyes, she admits she still loves the mayor and sees him as her best friend. Shirou thinks it's wrong to insult someone, especially a close friend. Emil wipes her tears and says that without the money, the old man suffered and she doesn't know what to do next. The young man tells you that, since she revealed her feelings for the mayor, is going to miss the fact that she ripped the letter. Shirou delivers a handkerchief to Emil and mentions he has a favor to ask for the guild. The girl gets up, adjusts your hat and asks what it needs. He explains he'd like to join an adventurer on a mission. Emil says you'll be making the order, although it's not something they've done before. The young man wonders if it's hard to organize, and she makes sure he finds out. She says there's only one group that fits in, made up of 4 skilled members, so it's gonna cost a lot. She says the group is called Azura Flash. Picturing them around a fire in the forest, a witch with long hair, a tall middle-aged clergyman, a young warrior and a cute girl. Shirou is lost in his thoughts, remembering his time in this world since his arrival. He remembers finding the portal in the wardrobe and the day he met Anna, along with everything that happened after. Things happened quickly until he started working at the store. Shirou's heart is beating fast, and his heart is beating fast. Shirou's heart is beating fast. The mystery of the Silver Moon Guild arises in his head again. Shirou recalls his amazing encounter with Master Substitute Anila with a mixture of curiosity and embarrassment. But her thoughts are interrupted when Anna pulls him back to the present. She seems worried and asks if he really plans to close the store for a while. Shirou nods and says it will only be for 3 days, during which he intends to live as an adventurer. Anna listens attentively and smiles, showing that she understood, saying that it makes her happy because she also has her own personal problems to solve. When she starts to walk away, Shirou notices something on her back, a little backpack. Concerned, Shirou asks if something is wrong, but Anna reassures him with a gentle smile, saying it's nothing, and before leaving, she tells him to be careful. After they part, Shirou goes to the guild and pauses before the big wooden door. When he approaches to push her, a familiar person surprises him. Emil suddenly shows up and announces that has been waiting for him, quickly telling him to come in. Shirou hesitates, his mind full of memories from the night before. His face blushes and he looks away, clearly confused. Realizing that, Emil blinks and asks why he looks scared, but before she can answer, she promises not to provoke him. Then she changes the subject with a hand gesture, presenting a team of silver patent adventurers, the pride of the guild. While Shirou watches the group, he can see a young adventurer sitting on a nearby bench, who seems curious about what is happening. Emil continues, explaining that this team will join Shirou on their mission, which involves collecting specials. Two girls in the group look directly at Shirou, and before Emil can appoint the leader, the young man who is sitting gets up with a big, excited smile. He greets Shirou, saying it's been a while since they last met. Shirou blinks several times, confused, trying to remember the boy's face, and then the memory comes out. This adventurer was the first to buy his matches. The boy performs properly as Lyre, the group leader, and then he points to an older man in clerical robes named Roll. Roll advances with a warm smile, greeting Shirou and saying he expects them to get along. Lyre intervenes with an important detail. Although Roll is a clergyman, he is also a strong warrior who uses a pack as his main weapon. Despite its gentle nature, Lyre warns that Roll should not be provoked. Then he introduces a young girl with long hair, wearing a hood and a big witch hat, holding a staff, Shizneska, the witch of the group. Lyre encourages her to speak, but with a neutral expression. Neska silently says it's a pleasure to meet Shirou. Lyre smiles and explains that she's shy but skilled in magic. Although her spells aren't as good as the ones she usually uses, she's demolishing a little more to conjure up. At that moment, Neska raises his staff and touches Lyre's head lightly, murmuring to keep him out of his affairs. Lyre grumbles, irritated, saying she won't go until she speeds up the conjuring, and Neska turns her eyes, answering that she will consider. Before Lyre can continue her performances, something surprising happens. Someone throws himself into the back of the room. The figure lands gently between Lyre and Shirou with an agile movement and presents itself with energy like Keela. Shirou watches her with interest. Her eyes pause while she looks at him. She watches you with interest. She looks at her, with her feline ears moving all of a sudden. Unable to contain himself, he asks if she is of the breed of cats, and Lyre's expression gets serious while explaining that many people, including some of the guild's clients, do not like that breed. Killa throws a look at Lyre and says she thinks it's weird, while Shirou feels uncomfortable, wondering how anyone might not like such a lovely race. Upon hearing this, Killa smiles and poses, saying that her words made her blush. Lyre continues, proud, noting that Killa is in charge of exploring the group, responsible for guiding them, detecting traps and reconnaissance. Excited, Killa adds that she fights with a bow and a dagger, and Shirou says that's impressive. Making her smile proud, Lyre states with confidence that she has not yet seen much, then looks at her seriously and notes that she is also the fastest to escape. The cat shakes her arms, insisting he did have to mention it. The guild leader claps high and asks if they are ready to leave, looking at Shirou and asking if he is ready. Shirou, anxious, shouts that you are ready. And Lyre appreciates the young man's lively voice, mentioning they're going to the East Forest, and approaches a bar, pause briefly before pushing the door, when a man who had drunk gets up. He stumbles towards her, remembering a past encounter, and reaches the girl's face, stating that it is as he promised, just when the door closes suddenly. Shirou observes the constant looks of his new companions, the warrior monk Rolf, the Neska sorceress, the shielder Killa, and the daring leader Lyre. Lyre ponders the adventure that awaits you, wishing you a quiet journey. The group forms a single queue on a narrow trail in the forest, led by Killa, moving with caution and attention. Young Shirou feels nervous, but Lyre realizes it and comforts him, promising that they will avoid monsters whenever they can. Shirou sighs of relief and expresses gratitude. While walking, Lyre complains that weed hunting is boring work. Killa comments that she has collected some, but Rolf warns that the specific herbs they need are scarce and difficult to find. The monk explains that finding these herbs will accomplish its goal, although he worries when necessary. The warrior smiles and explains that resting, whenever he can, is a fundamental rule for adventurers. Shirou, touched by this wisdom, embellishes, thinking about how your former boss never shared such advice. Lyre then orders everyone to prepare to set up camp. Shirou and Killa collect sticks, while Rolf uses his axe to knock down small trees. Lyre lights a fire with matches she bought, telling Shirou that they are incredibly useful. The clergyman adds, thanking the sponsor for the supplies. Lyre jokes that she could get rich selling matches in the capital, and Rolf agrees, but warns that the Merchant Association can cause problems if they know. Lyre laughs, saying that the clergyman's prediction is usually accurate, leaving Shirou amazed at the accuracy of the prediction. Nesca arrives tired, grumbling with hunger, and Lyre agrees, calling everyone to eat after the long march. Shirou watches Nesca bit a piece of bread. He faces the meal of hard bread and dry meat, questioning how even experienced adventurers can manage with such simple food. Killa throws a look at him, asking if he has eaten, and then bites a piece of meat with his teeth and offers it. Shirou politely refuses, thanking, and says he brought his own supplies as he unfolds the backpack. Lyre observes with interest, and Rolf's jaw falls when he sees the contents that Shirou reveals. The leader can't believe it's real food, and the group keeps staring at the stock. Shirou shows canned, instant noodles and a variety of cookies. Nesca swallows nervously, and Lyre asks if Shirou plans to eat it all alone. The young man explains that he brought enough for everyone. The team is shocked, but Shirou explains that he is testing new items for his store and wants their feedback. They hesitate, so Lyre decides these are free samples. The group celebrates, dipping in the food. Lyre takes a ramen. Killa gets a rice cake, Rolf picks a bun, and Nesca gets a cookie. Everyone is amazed at the flavors. Shirou watches as they enjoy the treats, noticing their joy. Killa lies down, belly full, and Nesca embraces the candy, promising to remember the chocolate forever. Rolf holds a crucifix, tears running, calling it a holy blessing. They sleep quietly. Nesca whispers about chocolate in their dreams. Lyre goes to Shirou, suggesting he also rests. Shirou admits he's not used to early nights, so Lyre offers to talk. The young man looks at him, intrigued. While looking at his reflection in a cup of tea, Shirou notes that the adventurers jump their sleeping beds, and Lyre explains that it is to remain agile. If the danger arises, Lyre shrinks a blanket around the sorceress, noting that one alone would not be enough in winter, though many too many would weigh them. He sighs, wishing he had a storage ability, and Shirou spits on his tea when he mentions it. Curious, he asks about this ability to store space, and Lyre reveals that it is a rare gift, held by only 1 in 100 people. Lyre adds that an ancient dungeon holds a book with this ability, and Shirou disguises its shock, knowing that it possesses it. He casually asks the warrior how much such a discovery could be worth, and Lyre, intrigued by the question, reflects that if he could store the value of a carriage, he would buy a mansion. Shirou goes pale, nodding his head accordingly, while Lyre admires that this is beyond what he could win. The merchant rejoices silently, planning to test the limits of his ability later. Saying you're going to sleep, Shirou is surprised when Lyre realizes the danger and grabs her sword. Confused, Shirou asks what's going on, but Lyre silences him with a gesture. He summons Killa and Ralph, instructing Shirou to wake the witch, because the leader understands something, preparing them for a monster attack. Lyre hears the sorceress whispering about chocolate in her sleep, and Shirou shakes it, begging her to abandon her dreams with sweets, for it is urgent. Nesca moves, blinking awake with her face usually neutral, while Killa smells the air. Lyre, perceiving, asks if she picks up anything, and the explorer makes an expression of disgust, warning that there are problems since the wind hides the smell of the monster. Ralph deduces that he's an intelligent beast, and Lyre encourages Nesca to prepare a spell, even with sleep. Before she can act, Lyre asks if she can pick anything up, and the explorer grumbles. A loud bang cuts the silence, scaring the warrior as he turns. He passes into a combat posture, his eyes gushing up to see a huge killer bear approaching them. Lyre evaluates the situation with gravity, saying that his silver-level team can't beat him, and Shirou trembles to realize its imposing size. The leader suggests that they flee, but Ralph interrupts, noting that the escape is useless, and only Killa could escape with her feline agility. Killa crosses her arms, refusing to abandon her companions, while the clergyman insists that a fight would be hopeless, and the explorer makes a sound of fear. Lyre remains calm as the bear roars, preparing to attack and ponder what his next move will be. Rolf strongly suggests that someone should take bait, and Lyre agrees as the tension increases. Shirou considers the situation as a test, listing himself, the novice or the non-adventurer, as options. By sighing, Shirou knows he will be chosen, and when Lyre holds her shoulder, he prepares for an excuse about being sacrificed. Instead, Lyre surprises him, ordering him to escape with Nesca and Keela while he and Ralph distract the beast. Surprised, Shirou hears Lyre apologize to Ralph, but the clergyman just smiles, telling them not to worry after the long journey. Shirou is stunned by their choice, and when he starts talking, Nesca advances, promising to fight as well. The warrior stops her, saying her slowness would slow them down, and then it causes him to want to impress her at her last moments. Lyre smiles at the witch, asking her to back off. She whispers that as a fool, looking down. He prepares, asking Ralph for a healing spell if he survives the first blow, and the clergyman nods his head, wishing him luck. Lyre, with determination, explains that she's setting a trap, and when she does, everyone needs to run immediately. Kyla's eyes go wide as she warns that something is approaching from behind. Lyre hesitates to trust her, but as she looks into the dark forest, you realize she's right. They're surrounded by two very rare and murderous ferocious women. The roars of the beasts fill the air. Nesca takes a step back, and the leader screams at her and Keela prepare to escape. Ralph reinforces, saying he and another will hold the line. Anna trembles and refuses, insisting that there is no escape and that they are doomed to die. The monsters advance quickly, holding the group in a tight spot. Shearer's heart goes off, but then he remembers his grandmother's voice in his head, warning him never to lose hope, even in dark times. He quickly and discreetly searches the backpack. Lyre, surprised, asks what he's doing. The warrior commands him to flee, but Shearer stands firm, facing the killer bear with courage. He throws something at the creature. The beast instantly freezes, his body becoming rigid in the middle of movement. As if struck by an invisible force, before the explosions happen, fireworks explode in action, leaving the beast amazed, and the group watches with total amazement. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Shearer runs towards the monster, screaming that the bear will wish he had never crossed his path. Without hesitation, he takes a spray and sprays it right into the animal's face. The mute bear falters before moving forward. The other one comes in the back, but he moves fast and sneezes right into his eyes. The creature rolls on the ground in agony, while he realizes the effectiveness of the product. Surprised by the power of the paint can, Lyre approaches and asks if it's kind of magic. Shearer smiles and says it's just a special tool, showing off the can and explaining that it releases a strong poison when opened. The merchant urges them to seize the moment to flee, but Lyre intervenes, asking if the poison hit the monster's eyes and nose. If so, they can't miss that perfect sight. The group quickly perceives and prepares to act. After an intense struggle, they triumph over the monsters and celebrate success at the bottom of the forest. Lyre warns that now they need to split the bear's meat and end any threats lazily. Meanwhile, Shearer takes the time to make fun of Lyre, asking if has enchanted with Nesca. The warrior and the wizard turn red, nervous, and they demand to know what Shearer meant. He reminds them of Lyre saying he wanted to impress a scared girl. The group leader disregards the statement, trying to change the subject. Quietly, as they gather the meat and other valuable parts of the bear into the market, Ralph approaches to lead the dissection of the monster, assigning tasks to the team to rip off the skin, flesh, and claws. Killa, intrigued, asks what they'll do with the bear's lower parts. The clergyman replies that the testicles can be turned into medicine, then asks her to cut them, leading Shearer to be horrified by his vision. Lyre approaches Shearer with a serious expression, asking if he can bring anything serious up. Lyre presses Shearer to abandon the task of collecting herbs and returning to town, pointing to the dead bear and saying that the merchant would prefer to sell the materials before they spoil, since they are worth more than rare herbs. For Shearer's shock, Lyre claims that half the loot is his, arguing that without Shearer's item, everything would have gone away by now. Holding the spray can, he suspects it must cost a fortune, but Shearer reassures him, saying that the real value is that everyone is still breathing. Shearer's words warm Lyre's heart and he smiles, praising Shearer's kindness. Meanwhile, Killa stops suddenly, then jumps by surprise to see Shearer, screaming that he's amazing. Shearer avoids hugging, and Killa ends up falling on her head in a bush while Nesca and the merchant watch. The witch intervenes, saying she also thinks Shearer is a solid guy. Ralph adds that the world could use more traders like him. Shearer, with the red face, feels the accumulated admiration. Shearer changes the conversation and looks at Lyre, explaining that they know they need to go back to town, by offering to take the materials of the killer bear with him. Lyre laughs, questioning Shearer's strength, but before you can tell me more, Shearer uses his space storage ability, opening a portal in reality. The group is there, totally shocked, and Shearer, perceiving his expressions, apologizes for not telling him earlier. Lyre recovers from surprise, and he says it's okay, since they owe him their life anyway. As Shearer prepares to leave, Lyre stops him, pointing out that with his storage skills, they should continue the mission. Shearer can't argue and ends up being pulled for 2 more days of adventure, before finally getting back into town. Anna greets them happily, excited to see Shearer again. Lyre, curious, asks if the girl is Shearer's daughter, but Shearer explains that she's just his assistant at the store. The warrior introduces himself politely, and Shearer gives Anna the key to the store, telling her to wait there. After that, the group goes to Silvermoon Guild to close the mission, but as they enter, they see Emil on the ground, crying. She begs the man for longer to get money. Shirou, waiting for an easy end to work, is attracted to what is happening. The man yells at Emil, saying she's been promising the same thing for months, and that this time she won't be beaten up after waiting. Shirou turns to Lyre and asks who the guy is, and Lyre says he's Gerald, a material dealer linked to the former guild leader. The young man approaches Gerald, presents himself and asks if they can talk to understand what is happening. Gerald takes off his hat, greets him, and explains that he lent 10 gold coins to the guild, with the debt not paid, as claiming the building as collateral. He shows a contract for Gilda Silvermoon. Emil looks down, while Gerald insists that without the money, he will take the property, adding that this includes the surrounding land as well. Gerald says the building and the land together could cover his losses if sold, and demands that Emil bring the property to the guild. Gerald says he will take the property, adding that it includes the land and the deed of the property immediately. She refuses firmly, saying she won't do it no matter what. The man asks why she keeps holding her role, even with the guild leaving her behind, suggesting that it would be smarter to let it go, since there is no more hope. Emil lifts his head with a serious face, ready to explain. She tells them it's not just a matter of duty, while Shirou and Lyre watch worried. Emil reveals that as a mixed race rejected by the majority, the guild Silvermoon was the first place where she really felt part of something bigger. She recalls her time there, her ups and downs, and says the good times have overcome the bad. With a soft look, she says she won't let it pass, no matter the cost, and Shirou, seeing her determination, begins to remember something too. Shirou remembers 5 years ago when his family met at his grandmother's house. 2 years after she disappeared without a trace. He can't remember everything, but remember your mom said you could sell the place, since it didn't make sense to keep it. Upon hearing this, Shirou fell to her knees, begging her not to sell, because the house kept all its memories of Grandma. Shirou says she won't sell the place, and that she won't. He was ashamed to act like that in front of everyone. All the relatives were surprised by his explosion, and now Shirou rises ready to act, while Lyre, shocked, asks what he will do. Gerald tells Emil that feelings don't change the fact that a contract is binding, and she needs to follow it. Emil, with an empty face, says she understands, and remove the deed from the property from a drawer, about to deliver it. Before you can, Shirou intervenes, asking if you could buy something from her at that moment. Gerald's eyes burst with shock by falling in love with Shirou. Stopping to pick up the skin of the killer bear instantly recognizes the rare material and realizes by the color that it comes from an even rarer species than I imagined. The merchant asks enthusiastically if Shui would like to sell it, but the young man politely says no, explaining that she is destined for guild. Emil admits she doesn't have enough money to buy it, but Shirou tells her she can pay later, when she can, no rush. Lyre, touched by Shirou's kindness, decides to follow his example and offers the same deal. The warrior mentions that Emil can pay later, and the girl, stuttering but excited, he accepts their generosity. Gerald then turns to Emil, pressing her to sell the skin for 32 gold coins, but she makes an ugly face and refuses, insisting it is worth 36 coins. The merchant hesitates, nervously pondering the price, and after some bargain, the debts of the guild are totally paid. With the deal made, Emil gets 26 gold coins still in hand, and the bear's paws yield 2 more coins, totaling 28 coins for the Silver Moon Guild. Gerald says goodbye, satisfied with the result, saying he's looking forward to the next negotiation, and reminding Emil that she has one more chance. She both thanks for the help, but the group insists that Shirou deserves their thanks, since they were just doing their duty as adventurers. Soon after, Lyre mentions that they are still waiting for the completion of the mission. Emil gets frozen, takes it by surprise, and turns to Shirou, asking if he is there for the mission too. He casually asks if he shouldn't be, and she tells him to leave, claiming his share is over. Lee disagrees, pointing out the mission was to protect him, so he should stick around. Emil shakes her arms, insisting that he is safe now and trying to close the matter quickly, but the warrior presses her, asking if she has already spent the funds of the mission, letting Emil stutter. Emil firmly denies having diverted the money, but Lyre demands that she pay immediately, and the group insists on 30 pieces of silver for their work. Shirou, curious about the value, listen while Lyre explains that they could not charge less for such a serious task. The young man says that's not the problem. He paid 100 pieces of silver and wondered if the extra 70 was a guild fee. They exchange looks, and Emil tries to escape, but Lyre holds her and blocks her escape, demanding answers. The sorceress conjures a brilliant circle with her staff, threatening to burn the bunny girl, while Killa gets angry, with her arms crossed. Even Ralph transmits a threatening vibe, and Lyre silences her fingers, saying she can't let it go. The group advances against the guild master, who runs away, frantically avoiding his fury. Shirou, thank you for seeing the true colors of Emil. Back at the store, Anna greets Shirou while sweeping the stairs. His face lit up when he asked what his life of adventure was like. He says it was amazing and offers to tell the story, which she accepts eagerly. He reports every detail, admitting it was a difficult day, but Anna gets excited, praising her courage to face a killer bear. Embarrassed, Shirou clarifies that it was really the Azure Flash group who defeated the bear, he only made a small contribution. She insists that he was critical, saying they would have lost the game. Then a loud knock at the door interrupts, and someone shouts your name. When he opens the door, he is welcomed by Sankara, who quickly embraces him, pressing your face against your chest as you cry. The mayor asks if he's okay, having heard he faced a bear on the mission. While he tries to breathe, Anna intervenes, warning Sankara that he is choking, causing a reaction of embarrassment. The mayor feels like her throat is being tight, but quickly releases Shirou, allowing him to breathe again. He tells her to relax, explaining that the adventurer kept him in the dark for a long time, and that he is not safe, and Sankara sighs of relief by hearing it. Feeling calmer, she asks how the mission went, and if he found anything valuable during the trip with Azure Flash. Shirou says yes and adds, if the supplies arrive on time, everyone will be eager to check, because he intends to impress them with the new items. With a peaceful expression, the mayor echoes his words. He tells Shirou that he no longer needs to hide his real actions. Approaching silently, she asks about her storage capacity, questioning whether it is not just a skill, but a unique object. Shirou goes pale and tries to avoid the question, asking what she means, but Sankara smiles and says he can't fool her. She explains that although she is an unusual talent, she has met others with this ability, and that is how she found out. She keeps saying that from the moment she first saw him, she felt something. Shirou, if she could see there was something different about him. Pressed, the young man admits she's right. He asks if that was a female instinct, but the mayor says no, revealing that she tricked him into testing his intuition. She admits she didn't actually know anyone else with that ability. She just thought it was weird that he had so many matches from the beginning. Shirou takes a moment to think, then shouts surprised. Sankara laughs and beats your shoulder, noting that in business people are not always true. She advises you to keep your secrets better. The young man agrees that he was careless and promises to pay more attention from now on, determined not to make the same mistake again. Sankara asks what new items he plans to sell, and Anna comments, saying she is also curious. With a secret appearance, Shirou says the store is a good place to sell an item, making the mayor surprised to be something real. Soon after, Sankara leaves, and Shirou lingers, celebrating 3 consecutive days of successful business. Right now, Lair walks into the store, saying hi and asking if things are going well. He checks the store's progress after the mission. Masuka comes in after him, greeting the merchant with a quiet, warm nod. The warrior praises the store's organization, and Shirou says Anna deserves credit for having arranged everything recently. He watches them for a while and notes the new items in the store. The merchant says they are still in the store, and has looking at Lair's sleeve. The way they act, Shirou suspects they've started dating and is happy for them. Although a little jealous, Lair mentions that she heard from M that an important person from a guild of adventurers is coming to town. The merchant confirms that, and Lair says she expects it to be a reliable guild. Arousing Shirous' curiosity, he asks the adventurer if any guilds are doubtful, and Lair says yes, explaining that even the best guilds can have a bad reputation. The warrior quotes Fang from Poison and says that labyrinth robbers are the worst. Masuka settles down, and Anna seems surprised, remembering that this was the guild Sankara had mentioned before. Everyone is silent for a moment, and Shirou asks if the mayor knew about the guild's bad reputation. Lair says she might not know, since, even as an adventurer, it is difficult to get this kind of news in a small town. Shirou thinks of how here there are no phones or social networks, so the lack of information must be something normal. He wonders if the guild that's coming will cause trouble, and he expects everything to work out for Sankara's sake. Anna comments on the delay of the guild representative, questioning if he may be lost. She wonders if his demolishing to arrive. With a calm expression, Shirou says he may be stalling, although the path coming from another city seems simple, but perhaps not. Still, Sankara has been waiting outside the city since yesterday. The child says it would be good if he showed up soon, and Shirou agrees. Suddenly, a bell rings, signaling late afternoon. Shirou tells Anna it's over for today, and the girl settles down. The man says goodbye to his lively client, holding the key and thinking it's still early, although he decided to close the store. Just when you lock the door, you hear knocks, and you open it to find a girl with long hair, dressed in a uniform, carrying 2 swords. Look at her with a serious look, but her polite voice apologizes for being late and asks to see only items. Shaw invites her to look freely and quickly opens a matchbox. The girl observes with interest, and he encourages her to experience herself, but she doesn't. The girl's face lights up as she exclaims she's heard rumors about this product and thinks it's amazing. Pointing to another package, she asks what it is, and Shirou explains that it is a survival blanket that protects against cold better than ordinary. He envelopes her, remembering how adventurous and the mayor were initially amazed at her. The girl smiles, amazed at how warm and cozy she seems, despite her thinness, so she curiously points to another item on display. Shirou tells her it's a foldable bottle of water and shows eagerly her products while she listens attentively. She appreciates the explanations, but she says she needs to go. She's late for an appointment. Before leaving quickly with a brief farewell, leaving Shirou behind. Days later, Anna breaks into the store, screaming for Shirou with a frenzied look that makes the young man freeze, asking what is wrong. Meanwhile, Sankara walks around town when an unknown man approaches her. The man asks if Sankara is the mayor, her severe voice and her threatening posture. He reveals that he is an inspector of the Capital Adventurer Guild, sending a chill through Sankara when he realizes problems. Shirou and Anna rush to the meeting place, the young man hoping to meet with this figure, but surprised to happen so soon. Sankara had planned to walk through the city and the market with him first, and then visit Shira's shop, but when they get to the site, things take an unexpected turn. Shirou comes to a shocking vision, with Anna explaining that they need him urgently. Inside the Silver Moon Guild, he finds Sankara indisposed and the Blue Lightning adventurers with dark appearance. A dark figure is on his back to Shirou, who wonders if has the inspector. Sankara whispers to him that man is difficult to deal with and encourages him to remain calm, even if provoked. Although Shirou notices her tremor, despite her words, trying to reassure her, Shirou smiles, confident of past experiences with difficult and determined people to stand firm. Sankara, relieved, presents Shirou to Gabus, the guild inspector coming from the capital, with a firm but tense voice. She praises Shirou as the pride of the city, and he greets Gabus beside Anna, but the inspector despises waiting for an experienced merchant. Gabus observes Anne mockingly, calling her an inexperienced girl hired by Shirou. Anna shrinks, frightened, while Shirou forces a smile to hide her irritation. Gabus observes Gilda Silvermoon, moaning that she's dirty and that the demigods can't even clean properly. Theo responds furiously, insisting that she cleans daily in her spare time, but Gabus laughs mockingly, questioning his efforts. Sankara observes, barely containing her anger, while Gabus adds that demi-humans who cannot work do not deserve to live, causing Kila and Al to tremble with fury. The mayor intervenes, changing the subject by offering to show the man the products of Shirou. Man examines matches and seems impressed for the first time, noting that at least this product is well done, which makes Sankara smile with hope. However, Gabus soon throws the phosphorus on the ground in a disparate manner and sits down, declaring his plan to open a branch of the insect labyrinth in the city. Sankara is amazed, while Al scolds him for not being able to do that. The inspector then exposes his demands, stating that your union will be the only allowed in the city and everyone else must close immediately. He stares Al, asking if she has anything to say about her weak little union. The rabbit girl tries to contest, clarifying that the name is Silver Moon, but Gabus interrupts her rudely, saying that the name is irrelevant since she should simply shut it down. Mill, furious, attacks him, although Sankara stops her once again as the inspector continues with his demands. Sankara is amazed, but Gabus continues to protest, saying that Gabus has nothing to say about her weak little guild. He insists on total tax exemption, claiming that the small town offers no profit and that he will need funds to establish his new guild. In addition, it requires exclusive rights to sell the phosphorus boxes, announcing that all Shirou stock now belongs to it. With a smug smile, the man throws some boxes at the table, while Shirou looks at him, baffled by his motives. Gabus, leaning closer to the young man, questions whether he really is a merchant and mocks him a fool, which further increases the irritation of the inspector. Sankara tries to intervene, but he turns to her with a lofty expression, asking what she wants. The mayor insists that she cannot agree to exclusive sales, not even for the benefit of the city. But Gabus laughs at his innocence. He argues that location limits trade, but your union could distribute products all over the kingdom, your greedy smile revealing your focus only on profit, while Shirou watches. Shirou crosses his arms and admits that the offer is intriguing, but says has not interested. He points out there's a stock limit and refuses to sell everything to a single union. Sankara breathes a sigh of relief and claims they cannot allow the branch in the city. Gabus' face wriggles with rage, and in an angry explosion, he throws a bottle of glass in Sankara, scraping through it. He screams, demanding to know who they think he is, claiming that the city union is already doomed to collapse, while Liar's anger boils while watching. Shirou breathes deeply and intervenes, asking everyone to pause. It highlights nearby forest monsters and rare herbs, suggesting that the location of the city has value. He adds that adventurers use it as a base. But Gabus laughs at it. He grabs it, Shirou by his tie, calling him an idiot, and saying that the city's adventurers are pathetic and without potential, claiming they can't make money in big cities, so they're here. They attacked areas with little competition, and Nesca is furious, although Lyre signals her to calm down. Your aura intensifies, and everyone feels his heavy presence. Gabus continues to speak, calling the city's value absurd, irritating the mayor and Mel. He presses Shirou, asking what he will do, since a branch in Minich could help the city. Put your future in Shirou's hands. The young man asks for time to think, but Gabus says there is no time to waste. The inspector then smiles maliciously and points to Anna, saying that if Shirou agrees, he could replace the little girl with someone more skilled. Shirou is silent for a moment, then coldly asks what Gabus just said, thinking he won. Gabus repeats that he can trade the useless child and the dirty demi-humans for a new one. Right now, Shirou's repressed fury explodes, and he punches Gabus in the face, causing him to retreat. Shirou staggers back, screaming in anger, and immediately attacks the man while everyone around watches surprised. During the heated exchange of words, Shirou feels a familiar feeling, much like the time he left his job. At that time, a boss provoked a new worker who admired him until Shirou lost patience. The words of Bus, "Ek your old boss," who, enraged, he punched him hard, making him fly. The Azure Flash team watches shocked while Emo gets close. Sankara, visibly shaken, approaches and Shirou questions whether Gabus acted strangely with her. The mayor hesitates, then timidly confesses that Gabus touched her improperly. Shirou's face hardens with anger. While holding Gabus by his hair, Sankara begs him to stop, insisting that it is no longer worth it, and Father Ralph intervenes, calling Shirou's attention. Shirou turns around and, although Ralph only offers help, Shirou accepts and keeps pulling the inspector, remembering your actions when you left work. With Ralph's help, Shirou lifts Gabus and throws him head on the guild counter, making the ground tremble, rises proudly, declaring that he despises violence, but you will not tolerate anyone disrespecting your worker, or exploitation of the mayor. Sankara and Anne are moved. With eyes filling with tears, Shirou takes another step and kicks Gabus, claiming he's too weak to be quiet about it. Anna runs to him and hugs him, crying. Gabus, furious, gets up and shouts that he will avenge the city, boasting with pride. Gabus boasts of being the leader of the labyrinth thieves and threatens everyone, but Sankara stares at him coldly, asking if he's ready to start a war with his city. The mayor adds that if the situation escalates, she will report to the ruler of the territory, Marcus Basher. The inspector goes pale, stumbles in words and tries to back down. He suggests that if you prioritize his business in the sale of departures, hell forget the incident. Shirou pulls his ear hard, saying Gabus must be deaf, since he's not listening. Shirou categorically refuses to sell and warns that any nonsense will result in the destruction of Gabus Guild. Sankara and the adventurer stand firm while Shirou screams, demanding that Gabus understand. Gabus falls to his knees, begging for a deal, but Shirou answers that he will be more selective with his business partners from now on. Gabus changes his attitude, asking to discuss the guild branch, but Sankara also despises her with a shrug. Lyre explodes in laughter, teasing Gabus, saying his greed left him empty-handed. The inspector orders Lyre to be quiet, enraged, and cast insults, calling him a weak adventurer. Lyre arrests Gabus for his collar, warning him to shut up. But Shirou asks Lyre to avoid violence. Lyre points out that Shirou also hit Gabus, and then kicks Gabus, calling him useless. The warrior points toward the capital, and Gabus walks away, angry. Lyre, Emil, and Ralph complain that they're not satisfied with just that, but the mayor reassures them, suggesting they let it go. Sankara throws a look at Shirou in search of support, when sudden knocks on the door draw Lyre's attention. He grumbles, assuming Gabus is back, but it opens to find a girl who once visited Shirou's shop. She asks for entry, explaining that she knew the mayor was there, which led her there. Shirou recognizes your face, and Sankara introduces herself, asking the girl's identity. The girl reveals that she is Mirage, a messenger of the guild fairies. Lyre's eyes go wide, realizing that's an important name. Sankara questions Mirage about the purpose of his visit. Mirage smiles, saying she wants to talk to the mayor. Her guild would like to set up a branch in this town. It remains composed while Sankara carefully observes it, questioning whether this idea of the branch is authentic. Hiding behind Shirou, Emil warns Sankara that it may be a trap, offering a friendly precaution. Mirage blinks briefly, then he turns abruptly, reaching out his hand. Emil's hands were shaking as she asked if the rabbit girl worked in the guild, her eyes lighting up enthusiastically. The bunny girl jumped surprise, but before she could answer, Ni intervened. Miraj's eyes were filled with curiosity. Ni went into action, saying she also wanted to talk to her. Ni explained that if the Silver Moon Guild merged with hers, Emil's salary would increase considerably. She extended her arm high and promised a huge wage increase. Emil followed the gesture with his eyes, his heart beating hard and his eyes wide. The bunny girl, curious, asked if her payment would really increase. Ni immediately sensed that she would earn 5 times as much. With a bold smile, Ni showed that she took it seriously. Emil hesitated and took a step back at first, but soon knelt before Ni. She announced that the Silver Moon Guild would join Fair's blessing as a branch. Her tremendous voice of emotion, with her hands grabbing Ni's legs, she begged the mayor to approve of her choice. Sankar was frozen. "I'm surprised what you heard." After a break, the mayor decided to hear Shirou's opinion. The young man crossed his arms and said that at least they should hear Ni's offer before making a decision. Sankar felt and invited them into his office for a conversation where everyone sat with tea mugs. The mayor asked Ni why she made that choice. Ni shared that days before, the adventurers had discovered a dungeon containing a strange map. This map revealed a continent no one had ever documented. She believed it could come from an ancient civilization, and advanced in magic, which could be a huge discovery. His eyes shone when he spoke. Looking at Shirou and Sankar, Ni's face got serious. She said the most important detail was coming. The map pointed to ancient sites in the forests east of the city, possibly lost kingdoms. She spread the map on the table and pressed her hands on it. Sankar, impressed, asked if that was really real, his voice full of shock. Ni firmly confirmed, adding that the labyrinth invaders were already watching the city to control only the ruins. She took a small figure from the table and turned it, showing how the invaders had failed. They had tried to take control, but were prevented by the strict terms of the inspectors. Ni smiled and said that his guild, unlike them, wanted to join the city for a fair exploration. After thinking carefully, they realized that this city was the perfect place for their grand plan, thanks to its location and a special detail. Shirou became more attentive, curious. Shirou asked what made the city stand out. Ni replied that the Silver Moon Guild, the only one around, was the main reason. By incorporating it, they could turn it into a protection branch of the fair, without having to build again, accelerating the design of the ruins. Besides, Shirou's shop had impressed her. Their products were incredible and could boost their efforts. Smiley, she bowed down and asked Shirou to consider opening a branch of the shop in the guild. His firm look made Sankar swallow dry. Careful. The mayor asked what Ni would like in return for opening the guild branch there, with sharp tone. The girl seemed confused and shy, while Shirou explained the problems caused by Gabus. Ni's eyes sparkled with anger at his demands. Shirou noted that even with approval for the branch, the inspector had insulted him. Sankar added that she had also faced harassment of Gabus. He was terrible. Shocked, Ni called it unacceptable, but spoke to Sankar, saying that, with Emil's agreement, they would not need a new base. Still, they'd need a safe place for an inn for adventurers. She promised fair pay and taxes that would follow city rules. Sankar studied Ni closely, asked her name to be Shirou, and then offered her hand with a slight smile, saying it would be great to work together. Ni squeezed him with enthusiasm. With eyes shining with excitement, she thanked for her trust and approval. And so Gilda Silver Moon, who almost broke, joined the biggest guild in the country. A few days later, Shirou's shop remained busy as usual. One day, while he was helping a client, he asked Anna to pick up big matches, but the girl didn't answer. She was frozen, looking anxious. Shirou called her again, but still no answer. Then he approached and spoke softly near her ear. Surprised, the girl jumped, turned to him, apologized and asked if he needed anything. Shirou breathed a little and repeated that he needed the big matches. Anna hurried to pick them up, but quickly lost focus again. The young man began counting coins and realized that his thoughts were elsewhere. He called his name again and, when he noticed his delay, asked if something was wrong. Anna bowed her head nervously, her little hands shaking. "I don't know if I should say anything." Suddenly he fell to his knees. tears running down his face, his voice shaking as he admitted he needed money. In that instant, a pile of coins fell to the ground, and Shirou bowed down to hold her by the hand. He held her hands gently and looked at her with quiet relief, asking how much she needed. Anna hesitated, starting to apologize, explaining she didn't want to cause any trouble. Shirou gave her a warm look, gently caressed her head, and comforted her. He smiled and said that everything was fine, that she didn't have to feel bad, because asking for help really took courage, something he admired. So he asked if there was anything wrong with her mother. Anna froze, clearly upset, but before she could answer, Lyre came in suddenly, calling Hi Shirou to come eat. Lyre suddenly stopped seeing the girl's face and apologized for interrupting. Soon after, Sankar entered, asking the young man to talk about the growth of the city, but she hesitated to see what was happening and also apologized. Lyre asked if they should come back later. Shirou turned to Anna and asked what she thought. The little girl wiped her tears, smiled and said it was okay, that everyone could stay. The young man looked at the group and decided that they should sit together to listen to her and offer help. Lyre hit her chest with confidence, saying they could handle it because Ralph was great at this stuff. Sankar also approached, as mayor, telling Anna that she could be trusted if there were any problems. The girl's eyes were filled with emotion. Shirou commented, saying she also wanted to help. Finally, through hiccups, Anna started talking, explaining that her mother was sick. Right now, back at their house, your mother coughed hard, and the flowers Anna had picked began to wither. Anna's mind also traveled to when she was 4, living happily in a small house. She could still imagine the little house where she lived happily with her mother and father. He remembered eating meals together, always sitting next to his favorite teddy bear. But one day, everything fell apart when the war suddenly swept over your city. His warm house was burned to the ground, even his beloved toy turned to ashes. Her mother squeezed her tight, protecting her among the ruins. Then your father showed up, carrying his teddy bear, now hurt and dirty. His face was filled with sadness, the loss of everything they had crushed them. But for Anna, the worst pain, it was to see your father taken as a soldier. He hugged her and her mother hard, promising she'd be back soon, and then left them alone. The war lasted only 6 months, but the years passed and Anna's father never came back. When she was 6, her mother said they had to move to a new town, but the stubborn girl wouldn't. She was worried that if you left, your father wouldn't find you when he came back. Seeing the fear of her daughter, her mother could not argue and just hugged her, crying. Anna didn't know what to say or do. Soon after, they left town, traveling across borders, walking day and night until they reached Nick. The curious little girl asked her mother why they had come there. Your mother replied that it was a place without more wars, a place where they could be safe. Living in a border town proved to be incredibly difficult, and Anna didn't want to lose any more loved ones. A place where they could be safe. Her mother worked tirelessly in the fields, often skipping her own meals so Anna would not starve. As time passed, your mother's health worsened, her body became weak and sick. She often apologized to Anna, which made the young girl feel guilty for causing her mother so much concern. At night, Anna hugged her teddy bear hard, crying alone on the floor of her little room until she had no more tears to cry. Determined to change things, Anna decided she needed to grow up fast. She kept her toy, looked at his reflection in the mirror, and went out to sell flowers with the little he had collected. His efforts were sufficient to obtain permission to sell in the city. Every morning, Anna went out with her flower basket, coming back only after dark. She followed the market until one day, met Shirou, whose presence instantly caught his attention when buying her flowers. Shirou not only bought her flowers, but also helped her get a job. Thanks to this, Anna was able to ease her mother's difficulties, which brought her immense joy. She would quietly thank the God she believed in, offering a sincere prayer of gratitude. When Anna received her first salary of 10 pieces of silver, she knew immediately how to use it. She ran through the market and found an adventurer who once mentioned that she had a potion capable of curing any disease. Without thinking twice, Anna spent all her money to buy it. She gave the potion to her mother, saying she came from Shirou, the one who had drunk it. Anna was full of hope, but this soon turned into disappointment when the potion didn't help her mother at all, not even after she took it all. Despair dominated Anna, clouding her thoughts while she focused only on saving her mother from the disease. She realized that money was the key. Enough to take your mother to a place with real treatment. With this idea fixed on her mind, Anna turned to Shirou, quietly praying that he would help save her mother's life, even if he disliked her. Gathering all her courage, she asked him for a loan, hoping he'd judge her hard. To your surprise, Shirou did not despise her. Instead, he gently caressed his head. In that instant, Anna felt a warmth she had not known for years after he listened carefully to her story. Shirou breathed deeply slowly, and with a gentle look, said he understood his situation. Anna bowed her head, her small body trembling lightly, while her sad face revealed the weight she carried. A brief stillness filled the room until Lyre suddenly broke the wall beside him, cracking some bricks. His eyes shone with anger, and his voice echoed with fury as he demanded to know who the terrible person had sold him the potion. Lyre squeezed his fists and punched the air, swearing that if he caught the culprit, he would pay a high price for cheating an innocent child. He declared the battery 100 times over. But before he could go on, Nesca intervened and slapped him on the head with his bat. She scolded him severely, telling him not to spoil the property of others. Meanwhile, Ralph knelt to Anna's level and spoke to her calmly but firmly. Ralph explained that as hard as it would be to understand, the potion Anna had given her mother could not cure diseases. Confused, the little girl looked up and asked what he meant. The clergyman then patiently clarified that healing potions work only in external wounds, and healing potions cure poisons. But there's no potion that can cure disease. Anna blinked several times, struggling to understand, and then protested with an innocent expression. The adventurer who sold the potion to Anna had promised that her mother would recover. But Ralph sighed, bowed his head and apologized, admitting that the adventurer had deceived her with a useless product. Anna slowly repeated the words of the clergyman, showing that she understood the truth. But soon his eyes filled with tears that rolled through his cheeks as the harsh reality set in, and Ralph felt a pain in his chest as he saw his pain. Meanwhile, Lyre's anger increased, and furious, he broke the window, screaming that he would track down the fraudster and punish him, asking Ralph to handle the situation, while Nesca and Killa joined him to capture the culprit, while the others went with Anna to check on her mother, Shirou following behind with a serious expression. As they walked, Shirou thought about what Anna had said about the disease, and Sankara was also thoughtful, remembering the pharmacist calling it a disease that ruined lives. Deepening their perception of their gravity, Shirou pulled Ralph aside discreetly and asked about the disease, learning from Ralph that it slowly weakened the body, as if the limbs were rotting, draining all the force, although scholars still could not understand how it spread. Shirou shuddered to learn of this dark news, realizing that the danger was greater than I thought, and after walking a little longer, Anna pointed out a modest house, making Shirou admire how Anna went out daily to sell flowers on the outskirts, because of her mother, while she was breathing deeply to calm down. She opened the door with a radiant smile, joyfully announcing that she had come home, your warm and loving voice when receiving Shirou, and introduced him proudly to his mother, Stella, who, though weak, he sat upright with a kind look to greet him. Stella kindly thanked Shira for taking care of Anna, but he insisted that he had to thank her, just as Stella tried to get up, despite her condition. Although Stella apologized for her careless appearance, Anna and Shirou quickly advised her not to exert herself, stressing that her health was more important, even though she argued it was rude to stay in bed with visitors until Anna firmly ordered her to rest. Then Stella noticed Sankara, who explained being the mayor of the city. Leading Stella to look worried and ask why she had come, Ralph replied that they wanted to see closely Anna's situation after they heard about her. Stella sighed, apologizing for bothering them, but Sankara replied that she felt guilty, frustrated as mayor for not helping all the needy, her face showing regret that Stella appreciated even being an outsider. Stella then asked Anna when she had become friends with the mayor and why she kept it a secret, and Anna smiled radiantly, saying that not only had she met Sankara, but also Shirou, Ralph Lyre, Killa and Nesca, incredible adventurers, adding with a broad smile that was delighted to have so many friends, warming Stella's heart to see her daughter's joy. Ina's heart warmed when she saw her daughter's happiness, and she asked her mother if she had eaten, suggesting she made soup for the guests. Stella said if she had to cook, she would do it herself, but Imao insisted, saying she had no meat, since she loved cooking and wanted to take care of everything. The girl then declared she was going to the river for water, and Ralph offered to accompany her. Stella watched them for a moment before deciding to ask Sankara to leave, because she needed a private conversation. After being with Shirou, he looked at her, waiting for her to start talking. Stella hesitated briefly. So, with a serious and firm expression, you admitted you had a favor to ask. Looking directly in the eyes, he asked if he would take care of his daughter after she died.